Core by Freedom Pulse. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it on over to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you in chat and joining us all week long.
Let's go!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello everyone, I am Freedom Pulse. I will be running Crisis Core for y'all today and kicking off this excellent, excellent marathon. First of all, I want to say that I hope y'all know over there at the interview station that we will be taking that advice to heart, that anything's accepted. So expect a couple Bait and Kaidos 100% submissions next marathon.
Just in the upper corner.
Yeah. Either way, though, like I said, I'm Freedom Pulse. I will be running this game for you today. Joining me on my couch of chairs, we got over here.
I'm Xerobladedge.
I'm the Sid.
And we'll be taking you through this excellent, excellent game. This is a remaster of the 2007 PSP game Crisis Core. Very fun game, and Square has completely gone through, redone a lot of the, redone the combat completely, given us a lot of quality of life, including cutscene skips. This run would be a bit of a harder ask on the older version, both A, because it's a PSP game, but also because you couldn't skip any cutscenes, and this game has like 4.5 hours or so of them. However, we don't have to worry about that. We can skip the cutscenes, and so you can experience the wonderful plot for yourself when you play this game. Without further ado, I'm ready to go. We're going to have to start off by closing off the language bid war. We can get which language won that. Yes. Japanese. All right. We will be running in Japanese on normal mode. And we're about ready to get started. So if we're good to go, I think I got the thumbs up from the tech people. Yep, we're good to go. All right, then we will be getting started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! All right, so this game starts right off in the action. We're basically simulating what we see in Final Fantasy VII. A lot of this game likes to throw back to that game a lot, like, you know, this is a prequel or something. This first fight, we're just going to be spamming Firagas. This game, you know, like in FF7, you have materia set to give you special abilities such as magic. You can queue that up by pressing L1. And I made a level there. That's usually not supposed to happen. Maybe we should explain that.
Yeah.
But when they ported this game, or when they made the reunion version of this game, they made a lot of quality of life improvements. In the original version of the game, all action would freeze whenever those slots in the corner there decided to line up and give you a limit break. They tried to change that in this version of the game to kind of stop that from interrupting the flow of gameplay. But in order to allow you to still get level ups and stuff, which is another thing that meter determines, they had the gauge still give you whatever result at the end of the fight. The way levels in this game work is you have a hidden EXP value that you never see. The game never tells you you're getting EXP or anything other than just, hey, EXP exists. That whenever you get enough EXP to level, the game sets a flag saying, hey, you should level soon. And the more EXP you get without leveling, the more the game is like, hey, you really need to level. So before this run started, we actually loaded a save file that was near the end of the game at a very low level and died in the middle of a fight, which caused the game to get a little confused and leave that flag set. So that when I finished that first fight there, I gained a level, which will allow us to be a higher level for the very beginning of this game, which makes a pretty big difference early on. As you'll about to see, levels are going to be pretty hard to come by in the early game due to some things we do for this route. So getting an extra level early on makes a very, very big difference. Here, we're being introduced to this game's mission system. The way this game kind of does side quests, since it was originally a PSP game, is whenever you get a side quest, generally that involves you going into a mission where it puts you on a separate map, one of several layouts. that have like a couple treasure chests skated out and usually end with fighting an enemy. I think they always end with fighting an enemy. So here this is supposed to be kind of your introduction to missions. You find a bunch of soldiers. Soldiers are weak to fire, so continue to use fire. You get an elixir for free from doing this, and yeah, we'll be doing a couple missions throughout the run. None of them are required per se, but they do give you some very valuable items for doing so. Here, we are going to be learning about the item lockers, where between chapters you can check this locker and you'll get a special item. And then, hey.
Hey, we're going to be a little greedy
Hey,
here.
hey.
This game came with an Easter egg. If you hit your supply pod 20 times, you're going to get the item that Kunsel got because you're being greedy. So he's just sitting here saying 20 times, hey, don't be greedy, until he gets tired of us, and then hands us a ring. That ring is the cursed ring. What that's going to do is it's going to give us plus 10 to stats, attack and magic, I believe, and it's going to inflict what's called the cursed status. The cursed status, in a nutshell, it stops your DMW from running. What that's going to do for us, though, is it's going to pretty much hold all our experience, hold all our levels till we take it off. So we're going to be level 6 for the first few chapters. Or level 7, rather, because of the manipulation.
Yep. Having that extra stat will kind of balance out later on. Right now,
Conflict resolved.
the plus 10 is way more, and because of the way the EXP works, it'll force the levels out later, so we just save them off for later and keep the plus 10 right now.
So right now you'll see Frito hugging some walls, kind of.
Activating
This
combat
is a
mode.
forced encounter, but if you kind of stay closer to the left and the right,
Conflict resolved.
the reason that he's doing that is to pretty much avoid encounters. Avoid encounters are like in a tripwire of in this game, where if you walk into a tripwire, encounter spawns. Walk around the tripwire, nothing happens.
Yeah, hugging the walls most of the time keeps you out of encounters, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, there's a couple encounters that we'll encounter throughout. Encounters will encounter, haha, that are fixed that we'll always see. Most of the time we can run from them. There's a few that we can't, and then later on it's just faster to kill encounters anyway. But we'll get there when we get there. Currently, what's going on in the story we should talk a little bit about. We are Zach, who is a soldier 2nd class, training under the soldier 1st class named Shield. We are about 7 years before the start of FF7. At the moment, we are in the middle of the Wutai War, where essentially Shinra, who is this electric company slash government organization slash military glue group slash secret police slash they probably have a baking show or something. They're wanting to build special power reactors called Maka reactors that drain the life out of the planet in exchange for a pretty free and powerful energy supply. Oil. And
Conflict resolved.
Wutai doesn't want us to build a reactor, so we're waging war against them so we can do that.
But that mob fight is really where you get a feel for your run of how Zach is going to act for you.
Conflict
Sometimes
resolved.
you will target an enemy and it'll be right in front of you, and then he's like, nah, I'm going the other way. And he'll just run backwards and hit something behind him. So that's where we kind of gauge how Zach's going to act for us today.
Activating combat mode.
The game, of course, was a PSP game, and the combat was much simpler and much slower. So, you know, in an effort to speed up and revamp the combat, they did make things a lot more freeform, which in a lot of cases, you know, leads to very fun gameplay. In other cases, it causes some fun situations with the auto lock on it. But either way, we're doing our first of several mini-games right now. Crisis Core and Final Fantasy in general really enjoy mini-games. This one's pretty simple. This is the Assault on Fort Tamblin. Essentially, there's just a certain amount of enemies that are hanging out around here, and you're supposed to like find them all and kill them and stuff. We're not going to do that. We're going to run through here as fast as we can. What are you doing?
Conflict resolved.
Encounters in here.
Yeah.
The fastest route.
All but 2 of them are forced. If you were to like examine that treasure chest, for example, you would get to another one of them, and then there's one where like if you
Activating combat
get
mode.
it. But we don't really care about that. You get a slightly better reward at the end. Oh, nice double kill.
Conflict
So
resolved.
Blizzard is a very interesting spell. It spawns an icicle above an enemy and then it drops
Activating
on
combat
them,
mode.
which does a lot of damage. It is the strongest of the elemental magic. However, it's very easily dodged if the enemy kind of takes a couple of steps over here. So to get around that, Blizzard again does the most damage, and it has a pretty nice splash effect and can inflict stun on
Activating
enemies.
combat mode.
is my favorite one of the fights because
Conflict
the
resolved.
sergeant is accompanied by two privates. Two privates won't run away and leave their sergeant just there.
Activating combat
I
mode.
would too if I'd seen how many Zach has already put down.
Conflict resolved.
I'm going the other way now.
Zach spins so much that like he puts Beyblades to shame. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He's gonna let it rip.
Let it rip.
So now we're going to really see where that hugging the wall comes in. If he goes around this wall to the left here, just like it, you're going to see that end by the stairway. That end can trigger an encounter. Luckily, he did not get it. And we're going to pick up some earrings, and that's a magic plus 5, I believe.
Yep.
And we're going to touch a save point. Touch save point. Like in most RPGs, it automatically heals you.
Step 1, avoid Yuffie when at all costs.
Yeah, luckily we don't have to do tents or anything. Avoid Yuffie.
Yeah, so we met young Yuffie there, but we skipped the cutscene, and now we're going into the twins fight. This is where we're going to learn about enemy limit breaks or abilities. So basically, we're going to run behind. You can see the ability gauge. We can knock them out of that. But while they're in that state, every hit is critical, and we want to get them down to 0. We knock them out of it, and now we're going to do some blizzards to stun and hopefully be able to get behind them because, as we haven't explained this yet, getting behind an enemy is a critical hit every time, 100%, as long as you're behind the enemy. But the game is really weird. Yeah, you can be right behind an enemy and hit it, and it'll say, no, that's not the back side. That's the left
Conflict
or the right.
resolved.
We're gonna meet a very fun dragon later who is gonna exemplify that. Hopefully he won't exemplify. Hopefully he behaves. But
So a lot of what we're trying to do is just stun the enemies, and Blizzard is actually has an innate ability to do it, so we're kind of weaving both those together to keep the enemies from attacking.
we also have boosted magic right now anyway, and since Blizzard is so strong, it's just nice to be able
Activating
to do it.
combat mode.
So here we're introduced to the assassin enemy type. These are awesome. Yeah, these guys are actually the worst.
Chill drop.
They like to run around and have really annoying hit stun, and that one wasn't too. That was fairly good.
The fight can either go really well and be about 10 seconds, or they can run around and cost you another 30, 40 seconds. Here, Frito got a drop earlier called Blizzard Blade. We're going to go ahead and throw that over here. I'm going to let Frito focus on this fight, and then we'll probably explain a little bit of this. It's going to do a pretty coming down. Vacuum Crash's core, TNT, we can just stun lock him by getting a certain distance away and we can win it. Here we have to do a little dance with him to keep him at a distance, but where we can still hit him.
Combat is a lot more aggressive with so much stuff, but he also has like more stuff. So this is the better option.
So at some point here, Rito's going to throw in a cigar, maybe? Hopefully he doesn't have to.
Let's go.
Perfect fight.
Let's go.
Yeah, so that fight. Thank you. So that fight has like a pretty like set out script. A lot of the bosses in this game follow like a set action count, which we work around that with how we do the fight. The problem is that depending on critical hits and random variables, sometimes you end up skipping an action earlier than you mean to, which can cause the fight to go a little awry. Thankfully, that fight went absolutely tremendously. So yeah, that's awesome. But we finish up fighting Ifrit there, and suddenly we find out that Angeal, our mentor, has gone AWOL. That he's just up and left. The assassins that we fought had the face of a man who was presumed to be dead, named Genesis, who was another soldier first class, and who was best friends with Angeal and Sephiroth. That was presumed to be dead, but then suddenly we're fighting like clones of him.
Yeah.
And then Angeal just kind of leaves.
Shinra likes to just declare people dead and write them off screen like it's an anime or something. All right, well, he's just dead. What? When did he die?
So you'll notice, like, every time we meet a new character, there's somebody important to Zach. They get added to the DMW wheel. You'll be seeing this a lot throughout the game. Not that we'll really be using their limits very much, and we'll get into limits a little bit later. Good fight.
Yeah, that was solid.
Nice.
That fight works out like 95% of the time. It just so happens that the 5% of the time where it doesn't has been like my last 5 runs.
Exactly.
yeah.
So thankfully, That went well. So upcoming here, we're going to be fighting a giant enemy spider, and we're going to be attacking its electric weak point for massive damage. You saw there, we got a thunder materia from the weapon locker, so we're able to just throw out some thunders, dodge its Type 97 cannon. I wonder why it's 97. And then he jumps to do this spider web, and when he does, we're attacking his front, though it's still considered his back, and we're able to just finish him off like that.
Hitboxes. But this game is very beginner friendly. As you know, if you look at the name of an enemy and it has a lightning bolt or a flame or a ice, the game tells you its weakness every time from beginning to end. You don't even need Libra. The only thing Libra really does is let you see the HP.
I think it also shows the MP and like the actual number, but it's like, why do I need to see their MP? I think there's like a skill, but
Hey, Libra is very important. We will be making great use of it later, okay? It's essential to the run that we use Libra.
So that's just Square being nice and putting a counter in a very small room, so no matter which way you move, you're going to get the encounter. So now, in the story, we're at Minerva. What's the deal with dumb apples? All that jazz. This is Angel's mom, who calls us a puppy because we've been trading under Angel for so long. We're in his hometown looking for Angel. So we searched the parents' house. We're going to go look around. And then we get more assassins because they're everywhere now. And they were very nice this fight.
Oh, wow. Yeah, perfect.
I think we might have found their hideout. I don't know.
But
yeah. So in addition to looking for Genesis and Angel, because Genesis is also from this town, they were best friends as kids. We're also looking for a scientist whose name is Hollander, who also went missing around the time that Genesis did, and so we're like, oh, that's kind of weird. So what's going on with that? So we're investigating.
Activating
I disagree, but sure.
I very much disagree.
Sometimes, like, you know, you can walk around encounters and you hug walls and you do your best, and sometimes the game's like, you know what, here, have a fight.
Yeah. Even
This one's on the house. You know?
Even casually, I felt like that. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Very much.
But this game and speedrun is very beginner friendly. If you've never done a speedrun of an RPG, this is a good one to start out on if you like Final Fantasy, simply because everything's like a dance, as we said. Like, so Frito attacking twice and using Assault Twister, we didn't really get into that. Physical variants of materia like Assault Twister, stuff like that, you can power them up by hitting twice and then using the Assault Twister as a finisher. You'll notice that if you've done this, it has turned red. The damage numbers turn red. Also, another wave
please
fight.
line up.
Because, oh my.
Wow. That's, I've never seen that before. At least I haven't.
Oh, come on.
I dream of that fight where they all line up.
I wish enemies were just that nice in every game.
But if you notice here, Frito is hitting twice and then using Assault Twister, even though that Blizzard knocked him out of it. But he's doing, it's basically like a hit confirm in a fighting game. You do a 1-2 into like a finisher or a
combo,
special.
yeah. So
Even if the combo whiffs, like you can just do like 2 sword swings in midair, hit nothing, and you still get the powered up version, which you'll see a little bit later where I'll just, we'll use a materia called Jump a little bit later, and that homes in on enemies, and so I might just like throw out a random 1-2 slash just to queue up the extra damage without even hitting anything. Zach is usually pretty good about dashing towards enemies if they're out of range, within a certain parameter.
I find that like Square does it with a lot of their games, where if you're locked on and you attack something at a distance, they really like the sword characters to just rush forward at a pretty fast speed to speed up combat.
All right, so who here likes baseball? You know, the American pastime, legendary sport.
Nothing like trying to baseball some balls and then just having your head twisted 45 degrees.
Yeah, so y'all like baseball, right? How about baseball with missiles? So here, we found out that Genesis was hanging out here, and his army is now shelling Benora to kind of try to hide evidence of their presence. And so we're here to try to protect the civilians, of course. So we're gonna cool.
The better question
is...
Who's shooting the missiles?
That's what I was going to say. Who's shooting them, and why aren't we killing them instead?
All right, so I'm going to intentionally whiff one of those there. You get 100 gil roughly for every single one of these missiles you hit. And then if you hit all of them, you get a special reward. However, the special reward gives you an extra couple text boxes. So we intentionally whiff one of the missiles there in order to not get said reward. There it was an example of the cutscene skip being a little weird. You can't answer that, or you can't skip that cutscene until Zach answers the phone. Yeah, otherwise it'll just pause the game. I guess, you know, Zach's just polite. He doesn't want to leave Sung on Ring or something.
Yeah, as soon as Sung goes, the shelling, you skip the cutscene. So this is where that missing one, it would have gave you a text box that said, good job, here's another 500 gil for no reason. And here is where, this is where that manip or level storage is going to pay off. We're going to open up with an assault twister. By the way, this is Bahamut out of nowhere. We're going to guard.
This is the very fun dragon I was alluding to earlier.
VFD? Wait, what?
Yep,
Yeah.
this is the VFD.
So Frito is behind him doing the 2 combo into assault twister. And we want him to stay on the ground as much as possible just to make the fight a little bit easier and stay behind him. But this is one of those fights like, what are hitboxes? You could be behind Bahamut, and it'll count you in front of him just because you're a little bit far. All right, now we're going to try to block Mega Flare. I will get, and that's
Okay.
what I was getting
Oh,
ready
what
to
a
say.
bummer.
I will give credit to this game. As soon as he flies off, if you start mashing Blizzard or an attack, it will tell you, hey, he's out of attack range. You got to wait for him to come back, but that's why we have Blizzard.
Yeah, I never used Blizzard casually, so I didn't even realize it would reach. It was like, okay, enemies can just walk out from under it. I think I'm good.
Bit of a rough
There
fight,
you
but we
go.
got there.
So Genesis is just summoning everything to try to fight Zach. So it was Bahamut's turn this time.
So yeah, unlike the other games where you like fight the summon and get them, we actually don't get them outside unless we're doing side missions and stuff. So we won't have to worry about those clogging up the DMW.
Yeah, so the war is over. Everybody's gone except Sephiroth.
Yeah, pretty much all of the first classes at this point have defected, which is, you know, causing a bit of a morale issue and also a shortage of manpower. So here, because of our efforts in Benora and in the Wutai War, we get promoted to Soldier First Class. We get a nice new outfit and a couple new beneficial effects that will make things pretty fun from now on, including Materia Fusion.
Yeah, Materia Fusion is where the route really picks up. Frito's going to fuse a couple things of fire and HP up into a barrier, but you see that barrier has HP plus 20. Keep that in mind for later. And now we're changing the Blizzard Blade into a Thunder Blade,
Yes.
and then we're going to grab the Star Pendant. So we're going to go talk to this random soldier 3rd class and get some missions.
Yeah, so this guy's having a hard time doing his job, and so we're like, hey, I'll do your job for you to teach you how to do it.
Because that's how it works in the real world.
Yeah. The Star Pendant, as much as it seems odd because it blocks poison, and it's like, well, when's that going to come up? We're going to be using it for other things.
It's that RPG trope of, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to get this now and use it way later in the run.
These elixirs that I never use in
Yeah.
casual runs. My save files with
Oh.
multiple elixirs.
So ideally with these Heligunners, we're able to lock onto one of them and line the other one up so
Line
we
them
can
up with
just
thunders.
shoot them with 3 thunders. But unfortunately, they're a little uncooperative here. Spawn locations for these fixed fights are somewhat random. The enemy that we see on the field is always in the same spot every single time. But if there's additional enemies that spawn in as part of that encounter, their spawn position is relatively random. So sometimes you can just get some somewhat unfavorable positions there, like what happened there, where they're just a little too far apart and lined up awkwardly. Here we're going to pick up another elixir. We're doing these quests primarily for 2 accessories we'll get in the next mission. But this elixir is really nice. We're going to sell it in a bit for a good bit of cash.
But right now, Frito is kind of building towards a Thunder build because most of the enemies that we're going to face in this next section of the run is weak to Thunder. They're mostly machine-type enemies.
As it turns out, robots tend to be weak to a little bit of electricity.
You may notice that we're like starting to recover stuff at the end of combat. We get rewards for clean combats with either abilities, spells, or not getting hit at all, which gives the best bonus. So we'll be wanting to do that more in the regular chapters. Luckily, missions can only be accessed through the save menu. So every time we exit a mission, it gives us a free recharge.
But yeah, later in the like the Sid was saying, later in the run, that's going to be more vital to keep a hold of our healing items for later games. There, Frito just picked up some sprint shoes. Now we're going to pick up a power wrist. This boss, if he spins and you're in the wrong place, you're done. We want to try not to hit the Roombas of Doombas first, simply because the AI changes and he will become, the flying helicopter will become more aggressive.
I guess spinning is like
why are you not dead?
most dangerous thing that can happen in this game.
Apparently.
Using Assault Twister, the Thunder Blades. Every enemy that almost kills us is spinning.
Going to do
Hello?
They spin right before they use their discharge ability.
Oof. Yeah. At least they have a toe. Could be worse.
Yeah,
Almost got vacuumed by the Roombas, it's fine.
so we got a diamond glove there. So now we're going to take off the curse ring. Hopefully for the rest of the run, we'll explain kind of later what's going to happen and why we might need that.
Yeah, so the diamond glove we got there gives us +10 magic and +10 attack, which is what the curse ring gives us, just the curse ring does everything. And then the power wrist gives us another +10 attack. So with that, we're able to... The curse ring is still a really good piece of equipment, but we're at the point that we really need levels. Like singular points of a stat make a huge difference in this game. And usually when you get a level, you get like 2 in most of your stats. So we really, really want levels. We did get that extra level earlier, but even that's fallen off pretty bad. So we're gonna hope to see some levels in this section. Fortunately, this game, like I mentioned before, when you get EXP, like enough EXP to level, and then go past that point, the game makes getting level ups an even higher priority. So hopefully, while we're doing this extended lobby fight here, we will be able to not die and get some level ups. That is a level for Thunderblade. That doesn't really matter.
At least it's not Thunder.
So
that's
up
fair.
in the upper left corner, we've talked about it a little bit, our digital mind wave. It's rolling right now. This is the slot machine. So there's 4 levels to it. There's normal, high,
Sky High,
and
Heavenly.
You just saw a limit there. So even though the characters we have not met yet are not on Earth, you'll see them on there. Like you'll see the mysterious girl in there. That just gives you Chain Slash. But so far we have Sephiroth, we have Song, we have Angeal.
We have all the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, we very much have all of the good ones.
We have 3 out of the 4 good ones.
Oh yeah. True.
So the way it works is it'll roll, and it'll give you like say Angeal, and then it'll roll like a hidden number to give you the level of the limit, and that level of the limit actually kind of depends on the little meter below the slot. Good fight, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So like we start off with basically the best one with Rush Assault. We want to see Rush Assault level 5 as much as possible if it's gonna be
That's Angeal's, by the way. Yeah.
Angeal's, yeah. If it's gonna be called out and it's gonna give us a limit, we want that one. But we just got the 4th best one, which is Lucky Stars. Lucky Stars is a limit that gives you pretty much critical hit every time, no matter which way the enemy is facing, and it gives you a buff to your meter below the DMW,
so
and it
push
gives
it up
you
a leveler.
And it gives you the break status on all your stats.
Yep. The thing is, like with the PSP version, you couldn't ignore the cutscenes or choose whether or not you want to activate the limits from the DMW. So the category usually just used Curse Ring the whole game to not lose random chunks of time to it. But since we have full control of it, having the DMW active is actually very beneficial. There is a grandfather category for it on this version, like level 6 only. This is a slightly different one, level 7, because we kind of bugged out the leveling at the start of the game, like we said.
I forgot to equip Power Attack.
Oops.
I didn't even notice you forgot to equip Power Attack. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
good.
don't think he noticed either.
I pressed the button for it, and then I'm like, oh, wait, why isn't he doing Power Attack? What's going on? That's weird.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. It's just like, oh, that's not right.
All right, so I'm going to do a shop here. I'm going to be selling the 3 elixirs we picked up because they sell for a nice 75k. I'm going to be picking up a Thunder Materia, and then I'm going to be buying 6 Libras. Libra, you know, it shows you the stats of the enemies. That's all cool and stuff. I didn't mean to open
That's
that.
Interesting.
The DMW of shame. But
Yeah.
when you fuse Libra with any other materia, it changes its attribute to give you a attack +2, like was mentioned. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to fuse most of our equipped materia with Libra to get an attack boost, like I said. Individual points of stats, even like one attack, make a decent difference. And so now we're going to be able to boost our attack by quite a lot here. Also, I'm going to fuse this Thunder I just bought with the Assault Twister to make Thundara Blade, which has attack +3 now. And then I'm going to be fusing this Blizzard with the Thunder Blade I had for Fire Blade.
Yes, the elemental blades are every variety from tier 1, the fire, ice, lightning, stuff like that. Tier 2, tier 3, so Thundera and Guz. Obviously, the damage scale is depending on what it is, and it also costs a little bit more to fire it off as well.
Here we go. Had a bit of a brain fart there. I was like, what's going on?
The magic blades do scale on like magic though, so mainly it's just to attack the weakness, so we get a massive like damage multiplier on top of it.
So now
Gentlemen, can I jump in with some donations here?
Yeah, you can get like 1 or 2 quick ones.
1 or 2? Okay, very good. We have one here. It is from Xerobladedge. It's a $10 donation, and it says, Minerva, please. Now, this is a reference to an incentive that is in here in this run, and we have $30 towards that incentive, but we need 400 in order to get there. And I was hoping maybe you could tell us a little bit about what that incentive actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. So Minerva is this game's like ultimate super boss. You have to do most of the game's missions to fight her. Very difficult fight. Lots of attacks that just basically one-shot you, and is casually pretty infamous for just overall being, you know, pretty difficult super boss. So we're gonna fight her and beat her in like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it was a really cool fight. I watched it the other day. It was definitely worth watch. I'd highly suggest.
So absolutely, I would love to be able to showcase that fight for y'all. So let's see some donations for that as I get stabbed by some Sajin.
Maybe we should have used those star pendants after all.
If you would like me to read more donations, I have numerous ones here for you.
Yeah, we can really quick while I'm just going through the reactor here. You can get some through.
All right, very good. We've got a few donations here that go back to our pre-show here. Sebi donates $15 and says, love Bob's pants and love RPGs. Let's go. We have $25 from Racodactylus, who said, Bonnie just gave permission to go off on donations, so here we go. Bob's pants are amazing. RPG limit break. Hype! We got $10 from Gamora that says, hi, Bob. And then we have another $10 here. This is from ZeroWing211, who says, here we go once again to help Nami. This $10 goes towards Bonnie's choice of donation incentive. And it just so happens, first of all, thank you, Zero. It just so happens that my choice for that donation incentive is this Minerva super fight. So if you listening at home would like to make that happen, be sure to designate your donation for being towards that particular incentive.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So picking it back up, we were in that reactor. We're trying to figure out where this random invasion of Genesis's forces came from. And we found out that Hollander actually had a cloning lab like hidden inside Maka Reactor number 4. So we investigated that. We find Hollander. Now it's our job to comedically chase him down. This is like that the Death Egg Zone in Sonic Adventure, or in Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, you have Eggman, who's this, you know, rather portly fellow, and then you have Sonic, the fastest thing alive, chasing him, and Eggman's just, like, barely ahead of you. This is kind of like a repeat of that.
Yeah.
Except this time we're getting attacked by assassins, which, that was the wrong target, but that's fine.
Yeah, most of these fights we can run from, but there are a few that we're not allowed to flee from, so we'll just finish them off as quickly as possible.
There we go.
Conflict resolved.
The conflict has been resolved.
Yes, conflict resolved.
It makes more sense than like the missions, but like in actual gameplay, it's like, thanks? I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me.
They got to give Zach a reason to stop, catch his breath, and then start running again. So
Yeah.
in his head, he's like, conflict resolved. And he just stands there for a second.
That's the voice in his head, like a like pseudo computer voice.
Yeah. So this is the fourth Sahagin fight. We're gonna go ahead and actually try to kill this last one over to the right.
There we go.
Perfect.
Perfect fight. This chest is where the route totally differs from the PSP version. We're gonna fuse this jump with the equipped Libra for the jump attack +2. It's already equipped. Now we're gonna kind of start seeing what build we're going for.
Yeah, if we have a materia equipped when we fuse it, it'll force put it on. It's a nice little bonus that'll help us truncate our menus and not waste a bunch of time with it.
So this is the machine trio. We're actually more worried about the pile machine than anything right now because it has a 50-50 chance in order to drop a power wrist.
And why is it 50-50?
Because it either happens or it doesn't.
So this is the Rush Assault. That's why it's the best. It did 4,000 damage,
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
let's go. 3 for 3.
saved a minute.
Yeah, if I didn't get that power wrist there, in a PvP attempt, it'd just be run dead. But for the sake of a marathon, we do have a backup. In a chapter later on, we just finished chapter 3, by the way. This game has 10 chapters. In chapter 5, near the end, there is a little mini game we can play where we have to listen to 23 messages on an answering machine. Exciting, I know. But if you do that, then the game tells you that there's a power wrist hidden and you can go grab it, and it doesn't exist until you listen to the messages.
I remember sitting there casually listening to him, and I'm like, what am I doing? And then I had to look it up to make sure. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to listen to all of them.
And it's like all about dinner reservations and stuff.
It's like hotel reservations. I was like,
Hey, we fell through the roof of a church out of nowhere.
Yeah, so we met Angeal. He's grown an angel wing, which is pretty cool. And he's like, I'm a monster now. You should stay away from me. But we're like, no, that's an angel wing. You're cool. Like, you're a man of honor. We know that. And that kind of makes Angeal sort of reconsider what he's doing, because up to this point he's kind of been aligned with Genesis and Hollander. But he kind of reconsiders, but not before throwing us off of the plate. So we wake up in a church with Aerith, and then immediately decide to do some side quests instead of going on a date with her, because we're cool like that. We're classy individuals.
So seeing materia level up is good in some cases. There's certain ones we don't want to level all the way up because it'll mess up with our materia fusion.
Jump getting levels is cool.
Yeah, that's great, actually.
So the missions that we're doing here, we've specifically routed out the missions to get what we need out of them. This one unlocked the item fusion tome, which we're immediately going to use. Sorry, Aerith, you got to wait for your date just a little bit longer. We're going to be able to fuse items into it now. So Assault Twister plus Libra, plus 2 star pendants. High jump's already here.
Told you they were important. But yeah, items is like a lot of the way that you modify and get a lot of stat buffs. The potions, ethers, somas will all give you plus 10 to HP, MP, SP, or AP. And with the basic equipment, power wrist, if you put 10 of them in, you can get plus 1 attack, which the returns on that are kind of awful, but if you're trying to build perfect materia, it's very hard.
So this is a nice feature of the reunion version of this game. You can actually just run up behind enemies like that and instantly start the fight behind them for critical damage.
Yeah, so notice I just did 5k damage, before we were doing maybe upwards of 2k at most. High jump's really good. It's also really expensive on our AP, so this is where we would really like to start seeing some level ups or something.
Or no AP cost, that works.
Or no AP cost, that is also most excellent.
That's another thing, a side effect of the DMW will. You can get stuff like 0 AP cost, 0 AP infinite, which will, the rest of the fight, you won't spend 1 AP to do anything.
All right, and now we equip the power wrist that we got as a drop. If we didn't get the power wrist, I'd have to re-equip the curse string to, I did equip that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To make up for the stat deficit, which, well, cool does mean we don't get levels again, which is less than cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we get to go on a date with Aerith.
This is this chapter's mini game.
Yeah, so this is chapter 4. This game has one of the big kind of goals that this game had You know, like the big one is, you know, establish who was Zach. You hear about him in FF7 that he was like this soldier first class. He was a pretty big deal. And that he dated Aerith. And that's kind of mostly what we know about, the extent of what we know about him. And so one of the big things that this game tried to do, hey, wait, is build on those, like establish what made Zach so great, what, you know, build his and Aerith's relationship, etc. And so there's 2 chapters in this game that are very much dedicated to that. And from you know a plot perspective, it's awesome, especially if you really like you know the lore of the FF7 world. Unfortunately, from a speedrun perspective, a lot of these kind of end up just being a lot of like point A to point B simulators. So here we decide to go on a date with her to the marketplace when we get pickpocketed by a kid. And we decide to go looking for him, and everyone we talk to be like, hey, did you see a kid here who might have pickpocketed me or something? They're not being particularly helpful. They're kind of, you know, making excuses like, oh, I'm sure if he, like, this kid wouldn't do anything. Also, shout outs to Bob Ross. The notes of this game call this dude here Blonde Bob Ross.
And it's very fitting. So this lady over here, when I was learning this game, I had the worst time finding this one shop.
Yeah, some of these are like a little bit hidden off the side, and you're just like, if you're looking the wrong direction, you just never notice it. I've had that happen a few times in some of the games I play. You're just like, where do you want me to go? Then you turn around and you're like, oh, oops.
Yeah. So here we find out that the kid who took our wallet did so because his wallet got stolen by a bunch of monsters. A couple worms ate his wallet. Worms ate his homework. You know how it goes. But so he stole Zach's wallet to try to help pay for it, and then he's like, oh, but then I realized that you were really poor, so now I don't know what I'm gonna do. And we're like, well, I guess we'll go get the wallet back from the worms.
Yeah, it's pretty comical because the kid calls us poor. And then when we look in his wallet, we're like, what? Why does he have this much cash?
Like, it's never explained how much guild the kid has, but he's making more bank than us.
I don't know what he's doing down there, but maybe we should be down here instead of working for Shinra.
Yeah, so now we have our date with Aerith. We get some items for talking to the shopkeepers, and we buy Aerith her ribbon.
Trademark ribbon. Possibly comes with its own free materia.
Ooh. You know, we have a fun date at the park, and then we find out that while we were, you know, running around the slums with Aerith and going on a date, the Shinra building has still been under attack this whole time. We are responsible worker numero uno out here. So now we're like, oh, I should probably go back to Shinra and help.
Gentlemen, is this a good time for some donations?
If you give us a little bit, we'll have a good time in like 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to let you know that we received a $200 donation.
Woo!
Thank you.
This one is from Robert, and it says, I'm so glad to see RPG Limit Break again. Thank you for hosting this event and supporting a great cause. Good luck to all the runners.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so this next couple of fights, we mentioned before that if you don't take any damage during a fight, the internal ranking system rewards you more for doing so. And it's very important that in these couple of fights here that we don't take any damage for the AP plus 30% heal, because the boss at the end of this gauntlet, we need enough AP to do 2 high jumps, and you notice high jump's a little expensive. I think we're not going to have enough probably.
Yeah, we can just throw some somas, but it'd be preferable that we don't need to bother, because if we want to do it outside of combat, we have to go in the menu, so it's one of those unfortunate things.
I picked a really bad time. Did you do that?
That's the stun status that Blizzard will inflict. There are some ways to avoid it, but not possible in the speedrun. Outside of, like, not getting hit.
Yeah. Don't get hit.
Don't get hit.
Don't take the kick, and you're fine. All right. So now Sephiroth is helping out. We're actually going to go meet up with a pivotal FF7 character, Hojo, who in this game just pretty much talks down to you the whole time.
I think that there's like no point where Hojo is a likable character ever. He's just unlikable the entire time he's on screen in every game he's in.
But he's important, and Hollander's looking for him, so we have to be his bodyguard. And there's a fun moment in the English dub when you talk to him here. He's like, "You seem purposeless," and it's just a tradition for runners to just recite that line every time we get here. And suddenly we're escorting Hojo out, and suddenly we're attacked by another Bahamut.
This is Bahamut Fury. You want to do a 5-hit combo on him and watch what he does. Depending on what he does, how you want to react. He screams, so we did a high jump. We're going to roll here, and...
That hitbox is rubbish, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually use jump to avoid all that stuff, but when you have to use a scripted fight, you can't use jump to run out of the way of everything, because it screws up your patterns.
So ideally, he would have done a... Oh, okay, yeah.
Oof, that's rough.
That was rude. All right, ideally, he would have done a...
Thanks, Aerith.
Thanks, Aerith.
That would have healed us.
that limit, getting a limit heals you, so thanks, Aerith.
Oh, man.
So ideally, he does a limit break at some point during this fight, and the fight is super easy. But you know, sometimes he's just like, "Nah, I'm gonna be rude and have the weirdest, most delayed hitbox ever."
He's just... Oh, cool. Aerith.
Hey, we have Aerith. Wow.
At least
amazing.
this time, if we get mollywopped, we can heal up.
Some point,
we got a level out of it.
Supposed to limit break.
It's fine. We're invincible now. So Aerith's limit
okay.
gives you a full heal and makes you invincible.
The other thing also is you can enter break status, which will let you store up to an extra 50% of your HP, MP, or AP. There's only certain ways to do it, but that's one of the ways to do it with Healing Wind.
So yeah, that's chapter 4 down. All right, now is perfect time to send it over to the host for a little bit. Zach wants to see Aerith, so we're going to be walking back to the church, which means we have to walk all the way back there. So perfect time for
Vanny.
Host, take it away.
Thank you very much, because I got a whole bunch here. We've got $5 from Corny Cecil Morty, who says, RPG LB is back. Let's go. Let's get that Minerva Superboss fight, y'all. No incentive left unmet.
Ooh.
We have Windbliss, who has donated $15. And Windbliss says, "Greetings, RPG Limit Break. You know me as Alter Maven. The name may have changed, but the Cat Dragon is the same. Looking forward to seeing a week full of amazing runs. Here's a boost for the first incentive, and hopefully we'll see a conflict resolved on Minerva. Good luck, everyone, and may the RNG Lords favor the less than 3. We have Fritzkin, who donated $11.10, who says, "I want to see Freedom get on Minerva's Minerves." $10 here from Vanishment, who says, "Thanks to everyone and good luck to the runners." $25 here. This is from the RPG Luminary. And they say, "Excellent marathon for a great cause. RPGs have always been my favorite genre, so I'm glad that I came across this. I look forward to all of the runs this week." We have another $10 here. This is from Danky Kang. And this says, "Welcome back, RPG LB. Looking forward to a great week with my 2-week-old daughter. She's excited for her first event. And by excited, I mean mostly sleeping. Thank you for supporting such an important cause, and go runners." We have another $10 donation here. This is from Geister Carl, and this says, "Greetings from Germany. Sadly, I'm away for the week, so I have to get in some early donations. May the RNG be with you." And then finally, we have $77.77. This is from Dowolf, who says, "#spin to win."
Yeah.
Thanks, Wolf.
All right, so right there we got like the second worst limit in the game. Shoutouts to Cloud.
If we get a chance to show it off, you'll be kind of surprised by how awful the damage is.
Yeah, so a lot of the limits, and the reason why Angeal and Song especially are such good limit breaks is that they hit either multiple times or they hit everyone. They also have a special effect that they ignore defense and they can pierce physical resistance, which is huge because, you know, a lot of the big beefier bosses are robots with high physical defense because they're robots. I wouldn't recommend like punching a robot.
I think it hurts, yeah.
Yeah. So Cloud, on the other hand, does neither of those things, nor does he hit multiple times. Also, really hard stealth segment right here.
Yeah, Metal Gear Crisis Core. He's picking up a spell and a couple other things here, but the gimmick to this mini game is if you get caught, they pretty much take away one of the chests. If you get caught twice, it's an instant reload because this pearl necklace that we just picked up goes away.
Really? Because it looks like money to me.
Money.
It is definitely money.
So as Sid was talking about earlier, we can fuse items now. We're gonna buy 99 Somas here, and you're like, oh, 99 Somas, great. We're gonna be able to heal ourselves. No, we're gonna use them with this Dispel and the steal from the kid that stole from us earlier to make a Dispel with AP plus 110%. And then immediately fire a blade, but that's no big deal.
Yeah, we're after like optimizing our attacks a little bit more here, but the AP boost just allows us to spam high jumps a lot more, and then it also makes that 30% recovery go much further because we have a higher cap total. It's a nice little interaction with the free heals at the end of fights.
All right, so now it's time for us to fight Genesis, you know, big bad evil guy.
Oh no,
This
this
is
will be hard.
Gonna be a difficult fight and need some serious time right now. So we're gonna hit him 3 times. We're gonna jump, and then stay with me. We're gonna jump again. We're gonna hit him, and we're gonna jump again. And
I'm sensing
we're
a
gonna jump a
pattern.
3rd time, and then yeah, there you go. Hard fight.
Yeah. At this point, I started letting the bosses keep their regen or barrier or whatever out of pity.
All right, so we just got the worst limit in the game.
Oh.
Yeah, Genesis's limit actually has its own animation in the DMW where it turns red and black feathers come up. And you think, oh, it's going to be so powerful because you get this whole grandeur of an intro of it, and then it does like 500 damage, and you're like, why?
Yeah, so Genesis's limit has the same pierce effect, except I believe it scales off of your magic instead of your strength, which we're not exactly pumping into magic much, and it also doesn't ignore. It's non-elemental, so it goes around like, you know, elemental resists, but it doesn't go around, you know, just resisting magic. And this is a Griffin. Griffins are rude, and yeah, okay. Pressure is an attack that can inflict stun for a really long period of time if it hits you. So ideally, you don't get hit by it, of course.
Oh, cool. There's that animation we were talking about.
Yeah,
Part
there you
of
go.
it.
Thankfully, the way Genesis works is that it spawns itself into your DMW at random anytime during a chapter, and then once it spawns in, it's around for the rest of the chapter, and then it goes away. So, you know, that means basically every chapter, one of your limits is probably going to get eaten by the game being like, hey, let's show you Genesis.
Also, speaking of limits, you'll notice that in between cutscenes, we'll get like a little pop-up that Frito's been mashing through that says, these things have heightened your DMW gauge, your DMW emotion. And it's a picture of 2 people on the wheel. That just means you're going to get a
Raised chance to see
raised
them.
chance to see those in there.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we found Angeal,
Yeah.
and he's a centaur.
Yeah, so Angela reveals that basically the reason that like Genesis's body has been falling apart, which is a thing that's been happening, and why he's grown an angel wing is because they both have something called Genova cells in them that basically they spread to other creatures, and they basically like turn people and animals into monsters, which is why Angeal was kind of avoiding everyone and went AWOL. Because he didn't want to hurt anyone else, and then he sided with us to fight Genesis. And that was a good fight.
Critical.
So yeah, now here, Angeal basically entrusts Zack with his legacy, that it's like, you know, I've trained you well. I believe you to be like, you know, a man of honor who can carry on my will to, you know, protect the weak and save people. And so because of that, we grow our hair to look exactly like him and inherit his sword.
Yeah, I think we jump forward like 2 years here and get the Buster Sword, which comes with some perks.
Yes, we'll get into those in a little bit, but first it's time for everyone's favorite chapter in any anime or media, the obligatory beach episode, where we get to use an umbrella to beat up some deep sea divers.
With some swim trunks and parasol sword?
What's great is the sword has the exact same power as your regular sword.
It's such a wild interaction. A lot of people that play this casually obviously know that this is like one of the grinding mission spots, so it's burned into your brain.
And now we find out that, so we captured Hollander at the end of that chapter, and we now find out that Junon, where he's being held captive, is under attack. So we get introduced to the Buster Sword, which in the original game was really more of an aesthetic upgrade. Like, you just saw Zack looked different now, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. When they remade this game, or remastered this game, they wanted to have the Buster Sword seem like, you know, an advancement of some sort. So when you get the Buster Sword, you get 2 effects added. You get Necrosmos, which whenever you kill an enemy, you drain some HP and SP or AP from them. And also you get something called Buster Stance, which we will see not in this fight, but in the next one. And it is absolutely broken and will be the source of the vast majority of us just massacring the rest of the game.
But yeah, Buster Stance is pretty much just holding your X and your square button. Zach will kind of go into a stance and he'll glow gold. That's when you know it's activated, and then you can normal attack, which he'll do like a big spin and a heavy slash, or you can use like your high jump or something and it'll deal more damage. It also has a built-in guard effect, so if you activate it just right, you'll get a perfect guard. Oh yeah, I love these enemies because as soon as Zach jumps up in the air after a Buster Stance, you would think they would just stand there and not take the critical hit, but they're like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
They run and give you a free crit.
They run and they give you a free crit and one-shot them.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't obvious, it's like a nod to remake that just recently came out, the Buster Stance. But we'll talk about that more later when we're actually running that game.
Gentlemen, may I have a minute, please?
If you give us like another minute, we're gonna get to like a minute and a half of absolutely nothing, so that's the perfect time for if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so here we try to hit this lever and then we get into another fight. We have a boss fight coming up, and then right after that we have like a minute and a half of waiting, which is going to again be the perfect time for send it back to host. But first we got some fights here, and then we're gonna fight the General's tank. Like we mentioned before, tanks tend to be a little tanky. Surprise, surprise. So this is one fight where we really want to see an Angeal or a Song limit.
Even a Cisne limit would help out.
Are you serious?
Or we can get Aerith. That's also a thing.
I'll level
that can
1
happen.
Aerith at that.
Oh, and my Thunder's gonna level, and I got shot by a tank.
Well, maybe it's not so bad.
Never mind. Thanks, Aerith.
Thank you, Aerith.
Coming in clutch.
You knew I could count on you.
Everybody should say thanks, Aerith.
Oh, well, there's that Cisne we were asking for. Please?
Yeah. We'll use it. It's level 2, so that will not put us all the way heavenly, but still,
Yeah,
it'll be very nice and give us the critical status. Which is
each level pushes it up by 1 from high, sky high
So
to heavenly.
Yeah, so that power attack that just leveled up, we want that to stop leveling up right now.
Yeah, so like we said, Materia's leveling is usually a good thing. You get extra multipliers added on per level. However, if a Materia masters, then that tends to change the result of like fusing them with other stuff. So we want to fuse that power attack, so hopefully it does not master. It's level 3, which is fine at the moment, but either way, there's a mini game here. You're supposed to be protecting that gate from those robots, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to chill here for a bit, so let's kick it on over back to Vonnie.
Okay, I'm really glad you've done so, because I have to announce that we have received a $1,000 donation. Woo! And this one comes to us from our very own Zathian, who said, Vonnie, you're going to need to pick a new post-choice incentive for the last $300 of this donation. Nami, hype! Now, with that, things have happened. First of all, the Fight Minerva incentive has been met. You will be fighting Minerva at the end of this fight. Also, the cute scene percent for the Costume Quest run that's coming up later tonight, that has been met. So we've got that there. And it looks like I've got a few $100s to assign. Where should I put that? Maybe I could put it towards naming the Blazer in the Soul Blazer run that's coming up next. Looks like I've got 3 different characters to choose from in the half-minute hero run that's coming up after that. I can name a grizzly bear, a main character, or a worm in Dragon Warrior Monsters 2. So many choices. So I tell you what, I'm going to make my choice, but for you folks watching at home, you've got plenty of choices here for your donation incentives coming up here. Everybody loves to name characters. So if you want to go ahead and do that, we got a whole bunch that got big old zeros next to them. Get them on the board, and let's get these characters named.
Thank you. I'm super excited to showcase that fight for y'all, so I'm very excited it was met. Thank you so much for this incredibly generous donation. So here we're fighting the first boss from FF7, and it's about as hard as he is when you fight him in FF7, maybe a little easier, I don't know.
Can verify, yes, this is a true statement.
Very good. This is the fight where you can really see the AIs work, where if you smack them once, they're like, oh, what happened? And they turn around and give you a free critical high jump. But Frito didn't need that because he got Octoslash.
Yep. Every once in a while, limits are nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we get further through the game, which you know, we're well over the halfway point at this by now. But as we get further into the game, limits kind of become less and less useful, just because our damage just gets
Yeah, with high jump, you just kind of
ramps up so much that it's like, well, you know, I could limit and like use a couple seconds to do something cool, or I can high jump and do the same amount of damage with less
cool.
time.
And it's even less cool because you can just skip the cutscene. So it's just
Yeah.
like, well, this is longer, but it would be cooler if I watched it.
So now we're in Chapter 7. And, you know, Final Fantasy really has this thing with the number 7. You know, 777s give you the 777 buff in Final Fantasy 7. But in this Chapter 7, nothing really happens. We're looking for flower card stuff.
Yeah, I love joking that, like, you know, we have, like, pretty soon here, we're going to have, like, you know, the epic battle that everyone has been waiting for who's playing this game that knows about FF7. And that happened, you know, the big battle of FF7 happens in Chapter 8 of Crisis Core. So, instead, we get to spend time with Aerith, and that's cool too, right?
Yeah, kind of. Be cooler with the cutscenes, but then again, it'd be a 4.5-hour run.
Also, Zach named Tifa's bar in FF7.
Oh yeah, the name, this guy, we need wood for the cart, and this guy happens to have a bunch of lumber laying around he doesn't need. And he's like, well, I could give this to you, but I need you to name my bar for me, because I'm thinking of moving to Sector 7 and,
Yeah.
you know, starting over. And we're like, oh, how about 7th Heaven? Yeah.
I love how it's supposed to be a nod to the game, but it's a very dubious nod at best. It's like, I don't think that's how that worked.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when they make the reference and they look at the camera and they're like,
Wink, wink, elbow,
Yeah.
elbow, yeah. It's like, could this be any more obvious?
so here, this guy has a bunch of tires. You know, we're like, hey, we noticed that your, like, old car is just kind of sitting here not doing anything. Can I have your tires? And he's like, why? And he's like, well, I need it for my girlfriend. And he's like, oh, okay, well, in that case, go for
Yeah,
it.
because it's like what you always want to put on a flower cart, 2 giant car tires.
Yeah.
Like, just pushing it down the street, even with nothing in it.
Hey, if nothing else, Aerith will be, like, very swole by the end of it.
Yeah, it's going to be like Cloud by the end of it all.
Got Muscle Mage Aerith representing.
All the level 5 healing waves.
It's just guaranteed if you give her the Shinra cart. That's all made out of metal.
So, like we said, Zach is looking for flower cart parts for Aerith to help her build a flower cart. But for some reason, Square decided to make this a big giant loop. And the first item that you see, you pick up and you're like, oh, it's just an old Shinra helmet. I don't need that. And then so you go to the next one and then you make the circle and then the game's like, oh, hey, by the way, I lost my instruction manual. Can you like run back and get it? And it's the first item you grab.
Yeah, because building a cart is one of those things that you need an instruction manual for. Okay.
Oops. Wow.
This is one of those cutscenes you can't skip until a certain point.
Yeah, you can't skip the cutscene until the black screen goes away, so you just get to sit here, listen to building noises, and then you can skip it. All right, so this is a very important part of the run coming up. It is essential. Each and every one of you, I want you to know it is essential that all of you make sure to tell the homies that you love them.
Always tell your homies that you love them.
It's okay, Kyun, so we will not forget you, ever.
Heart.
Do we love donations as well?
Absolutely.
All right, very good. We got $20 from Alec K47 who says, hello from the donation station. This week is going to be a lot of fun and always does wonders for my mental health. Thank you for all who contribute, even if you just watch. Sharing the stream is an excellent way to help out the event. Stay cool and be excellent to each other, everyone. I love you, man. we got $10 here from KFizzle4 who says, sadly, never had a PSP to play this on, but I would have absolutely loved this game when it came out. Plus, it gives more context to the ending of Dirge of Cerberus, which I beat 3 times. And then we got another $10 here. This is from Kyo's Little Monster, who says, super excited to see my homie Freedom running Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion featuring Zack from Crisis Core HD Remake Remaster.
Oh no, it begins.
Thank you, Kios.
Kios, the lad.
All right, so we, Chapter 7, very exciting. We basically run to HQ to find the stuff to build the cart, run back to the church to build the cart, get warped back to HQ to tell Kunsel that we love him, and then run back to the church to spend some time with Aerith. So help her get her flower-selling business going. And then we get warped back to HQ, where we find out we have a very important mission coming up with Sephiroth to visit a small, unimportant village in the middle of nowhere called Nibelheim. And we get a lovely picture of Sung smoldering at us.
Yeah, when they actually like needed the load screens on the PSP. And well, here it's just like, that's cute, but I don't think we need that.
All right, so here we're just kind of following Sephiroth around for a little bit. We talk to him in front of the tower. We talk to him in front of the inn. We meet Tifa, who's pretty cool.
Tour guide Tifa.
And she's like, hey, are there any blonde dudes in Soldier? And we're like, no, what's that about? And then meanwhile, Cloud, who is from Nibelheim, has not taken his helmet off this whole time, which is kind of weird. But, you know, you do you, my guy. Keep giving me good limits.
Whopping 1,000 damage.
So in all these cutscene skips, we went from Nibelheim to the Nibel reactor. Sephiroth is just kind of finding out about Genova.
Yeah, so he's been telling us throughout the game, he's like, oh, my mom is Genova, but I don't know what that means. Like, that's just what her name is. And here we find out that Genova was actually a evil space alien that came to destroy the world. And, you know, rightly so, Sephiroth is a little not cool with that fact.
And then we get a mini-boss fight in between for some reason.
Wow, that was kind of rude.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him do that before, of just not limiting.
So now we're going to run back with the mysterious soldier and Tifa. This is where you kind of figure out how your Chapter 8's going to go by counting the encounters that you get. And Frito didn't get one.
Yeah, we didn't get one there. We have another screen, but
yeah.
Basically, okay, there's one. Average number of encounters for Chapter 8 is anywhere like 5 or 6. There's one. You know, 4 is fantastic, and anything above 6, you consider yourself pretty unlucky. My personal most encounters I've ever had in this chapter was 9, and I think 0 over here has had something like 11. So
yeah, I think I have the all-time record for the most encounters in the rooms.
I think we did mention it earlier, but sticking to the walls helps like massively reduce the chance of getting encounters, but it's not a guaranteed fix. A little bit low damage there.
Yeah, some areas like the outskirts here and all that, and the Mountain of Bell is just too small to guarantee that you're going to get around that encounter. Like I described it earlier as a tripwire. It's kind of too narrow to see to get around it 100% of the time.
Yep.
It's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, it either happens or it doesn't.
So we have a very important scene with Cloud where Cloud's feeling pretty bummed out about, you know, the fact that he's come back to Nibelheim, but he hasn't achieved his goals of being in Soldier yet. And so that kind of gives him a pep talk about like what the the real importance of, honor and being a hero, what being a hero means and everything. And, seemed to make a pretty big impact on Cloud and as a person.
It left a pretty big impact on me. It ended up making Zack like my favorite character in the entire series.
Yeah, Zack is awesome. All right, so we find out that Sephiroth has locked himself in this Shinra Manor here, and we're going to be doing a
counting.
Another mini game. Who here likes counting?
So this mini game, we're going to look at these doors. So Frito's going to count the chairs here. So we've one chair. And this is the hardest one of them because we've got to count Pumpkin Ghost.
One.
And they can do stuff like that and hide behind the doors.
Yeah, see, he's completely invisible there.
Yeah, but one,
2.
Now let's see.
I'm looking to make sure.
Is there
You might
a
wanna look
third?
up.
Yeah.
Look up into the room.
we're
Okay.
good. So 2 pumpkins, 1 chair. grab this elixir here. We're actually going to be using these elixirs for healing later on.
Yeah.
And now we're going to count the number of apples/apple cans we see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's usually one over here. 6. Okay, 6 apples. So 1 cherry, 2 pumpkins, 6 apples. And the number of books is either 4, 5, or 6. So we're just going to start with 4. So let's see. It's 1, and then pumpkins is 2, and then that's 6, and then 1. Nice, first try.
First try.
Whoa,
And there was a cactus in that save.
And for some reason, he had a cactuar as a pet. This chest used to contain Odin, or will contain Odin later in the timeline, but right now it's Vital Slash. We're going to fuse that Vital Slash with that power attack that we wanted to stop leveling earlier for +1 attack on Vital Slash, so +16 instead of 15.
Yeah, so that Vital Slash comes pre-mastered, so it has maximum possible stacks. Vital Slash, to briefly explain what it does, is it's a very powerful physical attack. I didn't use power attack much just because I forgot to equip it when it would have been useful. But essentially, it leaves you like super vulnerable for a long period of time, but then you do a powerful down attack with it. What Vital Slash does is it is a very powerful attack that's always a critical hit, and it pierces defense, I believe. So with the amount of strength we've been building, plus the fact that Vital Slash just comes with +15 attack on it, means that whenever we have to Vital Slash something, we'll usually be doing max damage with it, which is very useful for
and on the 7th day.
Yeah, so here Sephiroth found, again, did the research about Genova, found out all of that about her, and he is not particularly happy.
Upscaled, you say.
This is still my favorite cutscene in any Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, it definitely leaves an impression on you, especially back when like graphics were pretty scuff on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
I figured I'd play that out.
It's super memorable.
So Sephiroth has spent 7 days in the Shinra Manor basement and has figured out that Genova's his mom, Genova's a space creature, and he's
not happy.
He's not happy about it at all. So he's like, all right, Nibelheim's close. I'm just going to set that on fire and then go sit in the reactor and try to find my mom.
Yeah, and basically now his goal is to essentially finish his mother's work and wage war against humanity and become a god and something. Is that 5 now encounter?
Yeah, that's 5.
When we were talking about resistances and defenses too, we're talking about like ignoring the actual defense number, and with resistances, some enemies have just a damage, like 20% reduced to this or that. So they're a little bit different, but more or less kind of end up functioning in the same way. Just figured I'd clarify that just in case you didn't get it.
But now we're at the point of the game where running away is so much slower because we've built up high jump, we've built up all these things with attack buffs that we might as well just go ahead and fight the encounter and get it over with faster.
I'm going to tag this save really quick.
Refill.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because I had to use some slashes on those fights.
You could have just saved there for your, your practice
and make a practice save now that we're running at a marathon, yeah.
All right, so now we're at the point where Tifa has been slashed by Sephiroth, and now we're actually going to see Sephiroth find his mom, go a little bit
lose it. Yeah, he is not happy, and he definitely needs a friend right now, and unfortunately he doesn't have any.
So we're going to hit 2 attacks, and then we're going to high jump into Vital Splashes. We're basically looking to skip the Heartless Angel. Heartless Angel, like it works in Kingdom Hearts, will take you down to 1 of everything. If we can skip that...
I got it.
Got it. Good job.
All right.
That's just phase 1, though. Because, every epic boss has to have
some sort of
2.
weird, like, insta-death phase if you don't do it right, yeah.
But in Crisis Core, it's phase 2 with a minigame.
Yeah.
We can't get pushed off the edge, but that won't happen.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, going into Buster Stance will not only buff our damage, but it also gives us a massive guard.
There you go.
So it allows us to tank hits like that
without
getting pushed back.
Sephiroth.
Yep. Whenever I hear that theme, I can't help but hum it.
I try to think of words that kind of match Sephiroth, and for that one, it was fuzzy socks for some reason.
All right, so after our fight, we have the scene where we do a good job fighting off Sephiroth, but eventually lose. And then Cloud is just so enraged by, you know, his hometown getting burned to the ground, his childhood best friend getting stabbed, you know, all that stuff. That dude kind of just goes Ultra Instinct for a second and stabs Sephiroth with the Buster Sword and presumably kills him.
I mean, I think it's the preemptive materia that he had in Final Fantasy VII. He just took advantage of it and stabbed him in the back.
So this is a big thing in speedruns that has happened to me, and I'm sure Frito too. You want to grab the key off that scientist, because if you don't, you have to run all the way back down, run all the way back up, just to get Cloud's clothes.
Yeah. If you make sure to grab stuff like that ahead of time, it can save a lot of time when the intended path is to go be like, oh, wait, I need to change out Cloud's clothes. And then it's like, oh, no, wait, we already have it. All right, fine, we'll just go.
Yeah, so Cloud's currently suffering from Mako poisoning, and so later on, in order to help disguise him and to just get him out of his Mako-soaked clothes, we change him into a soldier uniform we're going to find in this closet here for some reason that was locked with the key that we picked up. So.
I believe like the story is we've been here experimented on for like 2 years.
I think it's 4 years.
Yeah. It's several years.
It's been a hot minute, we'll say.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm a bit disappointed that you completely glossed over the fact that you just fought an enemy called Dorky Face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The names in this game are wild.
Yeah, the dorky face enemy, I wish I knew what it did, but you just hit it with jump and it goes away. So now we're playing another mini game of, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you see like the 21 meters to exit. That's not us.
Yeah,
Somebody's
look over there on the
Cloud.
left side of the screen.
Oops. Yeah,
We're having a little bit too much fun.
very slowly dragging Cloud away.
Like in the most awkward manner possible. It's like, if we're just trying to retrieve him, I don't know why you don't just grab him by his shoe and just...
Yeah, and so we beat up all of these soldiers, and then we just kind of approach him like, dude, what you doing?
You don't want to do this, but they do it anyway.
So these grenaders that are in here sometimes just like to drop a grenade, and then when you hit them, the grenade stays.
Yeah, so if they queue up their grenade attack, then their grenade still exists when they die, and so it just falls, which is what you saw there, where like there were no enemies, but I got exploded. That was what had occurred.
Rush Assault level 4 when it's not needed.
Hey, Dispel leveled up. Woo, that's useless. Wow. Dispel and Barrier are like the two materia where it makes pretty much zero difference whatsoever if they level or not.
I will say this though, I will give the game credit in those fights where they're trying to kidnap Cloud. You can actually buffer a lot of your inputs just so they come out of, like the Buster stance. You can just hold square and circle or square and X and buffer it, and as soon as the enemy spawns, he goes into the stance. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I know that they're there. You don't have to turn the camera and look for them.
Nice visual cue, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's doing the thing. Attack, please.
It's more useful in Junon way back when, but so now we have another mini game. Like they backloaded the end game with mini games.
I hear Sid loves this mini game.
Sid, I will let you explain this mini game.
So what we're supposed to do is pick up these random sniper rifles and shoot the robots that are just kind of patrolling, but the hitboxes are awful. Killing them gives us kill points. I guess we're going a little metal here.
Kill points.
And it's just one of the roughest mini games in here. I think if they had removed it, I would not have cried at all. My personal opinion on this cannot be said on a PG stream, so I'm not saying anything.
And they threw in encounters. For some reason, they threw in encounters.
Just to make it extra awful.
So we can get more kill points, obviously.
The main issue is like you can't save in between, so if you like mess one up, you got to do them all again.
Yeah, the platinum trophy for this game, or you know the max achievements for this game, requires pretty much completing every single minigame perfectly. Most of them are pretty easy to do that with. There's a few that are particularly awful. There's one in the marketplace that's pretty atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
Then that one can be really rough because you have to snipe all the robots without letting any get away. And sometimes when you shoot them, they're just like, nope, I'm out, and just bolt.
Yeah.
So here we meet up with Cisne. So basically because we became test subjects and then broke out, now everyone's looking for us. And Cisne is like, oh, I heard the person I was hunting for was like a terrible person, but like I know you and we're friends, so I'm gonna not turn you in. Also, this is the G Eliminator. This is a Genesis clone that decided to eat Zach's hair.
And became this.
Yeah, so with the nice lucky stars that I'm not going to use, the medical procedures or the testing that we were undergoing basically injected both Cloud and Zach with Genova cells. But because Zach had already gone
Through Soldier, the Mako infusion.
yeah, because he's already gone through a Mako infusion, his body is rejecting the Genova cells, which is what's causing a lot of the Genesis clones to turn into monstrosities. And now Genesis is hunting Cloud because Cloud didn't have said infusion.
Yeah, so he got both at the same time, which is what makes him more powerful in the next version, either 7 or remake, whichever you play after this.
Got it. This game's kind of weird with cutscene skips sometimes, where you can skip a cutscene before the loading for the cutscene actually starts. In that case, I was able to pause during the fade to black before the game even started to load the cutscene and skip the loading screen as well. If I had paused a little early, the game wouldn't have allowed that, and I would have had to actually sit through the loading screen. Boo-hoo. Get that ready. We're approaching the final menu, so I'm just getting that ready. It's going to be after this fight, where we go to Gungaga, which is Zach's hometown, and we see someone that looks like Angeal, and we're like, huh, that's kind of weird, because I killed him a couple years ago. What's up with that? And, obviously this isn't like a trap or anything, but then we get to the top of Gungaga, and we find out it was actually a trap. Nice level 20. That's pretty early too.
Yeah, your levels are actually looking really good.
It's
So now we're
pretty wild level.
All right, so here during the final menu, so I'm going to buy a Firaga. We're going to buy a Lucky Stars materia, which boosts your chances of seeing Lucky Stars, which we're not going to use it for that. And we're going to buy 99 potions. First off, we're taking this Cure materia just because it's there. We're going to fuse it with this HP barrier we made at the very beginning of the game. We're going to fuse 90 potions with it, and we're going to make a barrier HP plus 60%. We're going to take the Thunder materia we've had equipped. We're going to fuse it with Firaga to make Blizzaga, which is going to be useful for the final boss of the game. We are going to take the Jump materia we had once upon a time, fuse it with Lucky Stars to make Assault Twister Plus, which is a very cool materia. We're going to go back to the shop, purchase another 90-something potions. Have the money for it. Why not? And we're going to fuse the HP barrier with the attack barrier we had equipped, and then about 60, 70 more potions, doesn't really matter, and that's going to give us HP plus 100%. And now we are going to equip Assault Twister Plus, and now we have our loadout for the rest of the game.
I love how the rest of the names for attacks got Power Slash goes to Vital Slash, but Assault Twister gets Assault Twister Plus, Assault Twister Plus Plus.
That's a really important chest. I just completely ran past the first time.
Elixir, yeah. The whole reason we had to wait till now is there's actually a shopping address.
Yeah, that chest
here.
I opened has the shop that has all the Agas and the DMW boosting materia.
A lot of them you have to go through a bunch of side quests. There's a few hidden through the main game, but not too many.
All right, who's ready for the scariest and hardest fight in the game?
Oh boy.
He might move slightly left and just ruin everything.
The Texan two-step, and it's over.
He tried. He tried.
He has the best knockdown animation out of any character in this game.
It's even funnier when it causes him to stand back up immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just halfway getting up, and then it's nope, never mind, he's not standing up. Oops.
So at this point of the game, Hollander, Angeal, now Lazard, and Genesis are all degrading.
Well, Angeal's been dead.
Oh, Angeal's been dead. That's
yeah,
correct.
Lazard here, who was the director of Soldier, who we didn't really talk about at all, was infected with Angeal's Genova cells, and so became a clone of Angeal. And so he was helping Hollander out for a little bit in hopes of, getting better, but then realized Hollander is kind of evil and probably shouldn't be trusted, so now he's on our side.
Yeah, it also, I think you find out through the side quest with Yuffie that he's the one that's been leaking information to Wutai as well.
Dumb apples only grow in Benora.
Yep, they do. So we're back to Benora, and there's a huge crater here because of Shinra shelling it earlier in the game in Chapter 2.
Yeah, and so
I thought we cut those in half. I'm so confused.
Those were the Genesis shells. Shinra also shelled. Because, why not?
Yeah, it's just
So now we're going to go underground, and we're going to run around. For some reason, we have to find the 7 goddess materia. Also, in this room is one of the coolest nods ever. Up there, that's Emerald Weapon. So
Oh, whoops.
it's
It's an egg!
It's an egg.
Egg on my face.
Egg!
Is it a rotten egg?
Yeah, I never even noticed that casually, honestly. When she mentioned it, I was like, wow, that actually is there. Cool.
So if you ever want to look that up and see it, it's pretty cool. I noticed it after someone else pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was there until like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. When
Yeah, you
Zero
can
pointed
always
it out to
you
me.
can always watch the YouTube VOD and pause it there and get a better look at it. Yeah, the goddess materia here is like a reference to Leveless, which is what Genesis has been parroting at us the whole game, except we've been skipping all those cutscenes.
Yeah, this entire area, like, we're going to be doing, like, very little of the actual final dungeon. This entire area has, like, a bunch of tombstones that have Loveless on them, and if you read them, you can spawn in enemies at these crystals that are each named after, like, one of the circles of hell, and beating all of those unlocks a prison area that gives you a ton of lore on, like, all of the super sketchy things that Shinra's been doing in Benora and all their research, and then you fight a King Behemoth at the end, and he's cool, I guess.
What a shock. Shinra doing something bad without people knowing.
Yeah,
Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah,
this whole area is a hub/dungeon all in one.
Yeah, yeah. The area is so well designed, though. It's just
It is.
really nice.
And the
change
theme
of
song
pace.
of the area is really good, too. It really sets up for what's about to happen. And then Frito has to go and ruin it by singing about bananas.
Banana.
You just get one of those things stuck in your head, and it's like, no, I don't want to associate with the song.
Those of you who have ever been to my stream know that I like using a lot of filler words when I sing, just like random syllables, and I tend to gravitate towards like banana and Scooby-Doo.
This is the G Regicide. This can literally one-shot you if it decides to do Tri-Thundaga, which is being a very, very good boss right now. Oh, there it is.
You were saying?
This is actually what you would use on the console to set up the level glitch,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's
All right, a good fight.
super nice.
Level
And
6
Blizzaga
playthrough.
leveled, which is nice.
Die here to set up the minute.
Yeah. PC has it a little bit easier. They have a tool set up to make it a lot easier. So if you want to run it on PC, the level 7 category
It's
is not
time
as-
for a showdown.
All right, so we're up at the final boss. This final boss is 2 phases. Time will be on the last hit on the second phase of the final boss. We'll call it out, but just so you know, it's coming up.
Yep.
So this fight requires focus from me. I'm listening for specific audio cues for when I'm going to be attacked. So I'm going to leave this to Zero to explain what's going on while I focus.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with some blizzards here just to kind of get some damage in. Dodge roll into a barrier. So he can stab the sword into the ground 2 ways, and it's this way or this way. You want this way to figure out which side it has the crit side on it. If he does it this way and you get the crit side, great. Basically, it's Buster Stance into Assault Twister with healing as needed. We have 3 elixirs, so... but the main thing he's listening for is the ads. Especially in this first round of ads. They have a move where they just stick their sights in the ground, go upside down, and spin. If all 4 of them are alive and all 4 of them come at you at the same time, they will combo you into death. I know people have lost several runs to that. So now we're kind of focusing more blizzards on the Genesis Avatar to...
Unfortunate.
Yeah, to try to skip Purgatorial Wave.
We had an extremely
does
high
like 400
Blizzaga in
damage,
practice,
so it's okay.
which let us get through this.
Yeah,
We're
in
not
practice I got level 4 Blizzaga, which I have never gotten before, and you just completely shred that.
Yeah.
So it's important to note here that although I'm getting some pretty nice limit breaks during this fight, this is the only fight in the game I actively never want to use a limit break, because for whatever reason, using a limit actually moves where the back of his sword is.
Yeah.
so the crit spot just gets random after we fire it off, so we don't want to do that.
All right, so that's phase 1 down. Now time for phase 2, which I think I can describe, which I'll describe.
Time will be coming up soon when we get done with this phase.
So here we're going to open up the fight by immediately mashing out a Vital Slash. That'll cause his AI to run over here into this corner. We're able to then do an Assault Twister here like this. We're going to be able to get another one in. And then he's going to attack us. We're going to try to roll behind his attack, do another one, hoping to get him over here into this corner like so. As we continue to do this, the Flash pushes us away, but that's fine. Thank you, Dispel, for the level up. Very cool. And get ready on time. And time!
And time.
That was a solid boss.
Wow.
Good job, Frito.
Woo! I think that might have been, like, if I had to split up or something, that might have been a gold split on that fight. That was a good G2.
That was
That was
a
a
lot better
perfect
than any of the
G2,
practice
actually.
ones, yeah.
All right, so we see this cutscene here where Genesis has been talking the whole game about this gift of the goddess, which turns out that goddess is Minerva.
Minerva.
And I think we know a thing or two about Minerva. So we're gonna see her here, and then I'm gonna close out the game really quick to relaunch it because we don't want to watch the whole ending because it's like 20-30 minutes even if I skip the cutscenes. Yeah, there's Minerva. Hi Minerva. We'll see you shortly.
But the reason we don't time the ending is because whether it's PSP, PS4, PS5, whatever, the ending, no matter what you do, you can set the controller down, you can participate in it, it all ends the same.
It progresses at the same rate. We can't slow it down, nor can we speed it up. And it's just way more convenient to not have to sit there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so that's why we can stop time at the final boss.
Yeah, that's the last meaningful input.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see. What was the time on that?
126 flat.
Not bad.
Yeah. Bahamut's misbehaving,
Yeah.
but pretty good overall.
All right. Do we want to, the host want to say anything before we show off the incentive, or are we good to?
How much time I got?
Just go for it. I can go whenever we're ready. So.
Okay. Well, I don't want to. Well, I mean, I want to keep things moving along. We do have some substantial donations here. We have an anonymous $100 donation with no comment. Thank you very much for that. We have a $15 donation from Margaret Ann, who says, "Yay, RPGLB! I'm so excited I get to watch amazing games played by fantastic people for an awesome cause. Let's do the thing." We have another $100 donation here. This is from Varen, who says, "This donation is made in honor of my friend who went by Mighty Blue online and who passed away unexpectedly last week. MB was a kind, intelligent, and generous soul, and our small community is left shocked and saddened by his passing. We are lesser now for his loss, but we can still do good in his name, and I know he would appreciate the work that Nami does to help those in need. Rest in peace, MB."
Thank you. All right, so we got the Minerva fight here. Before we do the fight, I'll explain kind of how it works and what loadout we have here. You can ignore most of the materia I have set. This is not an official speedrun file or optimal or anything. This is basically a file I kind of worked together with a certain idea for a strat in mind to show this boss basically as quickly as possible. So mainly what we have going on here with our build is we have a lot of HP plus. The big thing is Minerva's limit break, which she will use 2 times throughout the fight. Can't do anything about it. Will do a maximum of 75k. You heard that right. 75,000 damage to our HP, MP, and AP, which we'll be able to heal off with an elixir, but we need enough HP to actually, survive the 75k attack. So big thing we're going for here is just lots and lots of HP boosts. As far as our damage, we will be hopefully primarily using Costly Punch. Costly Punch is a special materia that, like it says, you use your HP as a resource instead of your AP, and it deals non-physical, non-magical damage, pierces defense, ignores any attributes, etc. And along with scaling with your strength, which you see we also have some stuff to get that up to 255, it also scales with your HP. So because we have so much HP and our strength is maxed, we are able to do maximum damage, which thanks to the break damage limit that we have equipped, will be 99,999. We also will be using high jump. I mentioned before that we had Buster Stance. Throughout the game, if you use Buster Stance a lot and fulfill a couple of other conditions, your Buster Sword proficiency will continue to go up, and you unlock several passive abilities that you can use while you're in Buster Stance. The 3 big ones that we benefit from is the ability to break damage limit, which doesn't matter as much because we have that through accessories. The ability to ignore defense whenever you use an ability in Buster Stance, and the ability to pierce physical immunity / resistance. So Minerva has maximum 255 vitality and spirit, so maximum physical and magic defense, and she takes either 50 or 75% reduced damage from everything. So, because of that, we want stuff that can pierce that defense and that resistance, which is high jump with Buster Stance and Costly Punch. As far as equipment, we have a couple Genji equipment, breaking our damage limit, having crit always active to boost our damage, The Divine Slayer, which is the reward you get for beating her, it gives you just a bunch of stats and adds Libra, which is cool, I guess. The Genji armor, which gives us an HP up and gives us endure and regen, so we can continue to heal. We're using our HP as a resource in this fight, but we also need to not die. And then the Zedric, which gives us a bunch of stats and halves elemental attacks, which doesn't matter for this fight. So we will be starting up Minerva here. I don't know if we want to be timing this or not. Don't know if it matters, whatever. We'll just go for it. So we will be starting this fight in 3, 2, 1, go! And we'll play out the cutscene of her showing up. So there's this whole quest line of exploring this weird cave with like lots of monsters and like zombies and stuff in it. And then at the end, you encounter Minerva, the goddess of war or something, who is, you know, we saw in the ending, but now she's ready to kick our butt, and we aren't cool with that, so we're gonna kick her butt.
Activating combat mode.
And she has 100 million HP. If you were playing on hard mode, she would have 777 million HP, which is a number to have. Okay, slash, we can block that with Buster Stance, and this Crimson player is kind of annoying. It traces you as it moves. Krista has the worst hitbox of any attack I've ever seen in this video game. Its hitbox is absolutely atrocious, which is part of why we're packing jump for this fight, because otherwise you have like maybe a handful of frames to actually dodge. It's pretty silly.
Yeah, the other bonus is punch is kind of hard to land, as you can tell, since it's such close range. High jump just kind of focuses in on no matter where you fire it.
Also, if you steal from Minerva, you get 99 Phoenix Downs. And the cool thing about this game is once you steal it, it's automatically in your inventory, so you can go ahead and just keep spamming Phoenix Downs to stay alive, because Minerva hits like a truck.
Yep.
She will insta-kill me with pretty much any of her magic attacks if they land.
Yeah. Genesis, why are you here?
Get this garbage.
Oh, you
out
want
of
to see
my
something
face.
funny?
Oh, we're actually, you're going
Apocalypse
there.
level 5.
You're going there. 4,000
That's
damage.
And that's at max magic, so it can't get any better.
Whoops. Yeah, like I said, if you missed time.
So this does seem scary, but like we mentioned, well, no, I guess we didn't mention it all. Phoenix Down will give an auto revive status. That's kind of how they decided to work around you not having any party members here. So because we have 99 Phoenix Downs, there's more than enough at this point. We can just use another one when we get down, and Elixir if we really have to.
All right, so the way this fight works is once you notice she's like doing one attack and then she's waiting a period of time before she does anything else. Once we do a third of her HP, so once she gets down to about 66k or 66 million. Numbers are hard. Once she gets down to about 66 million words, she will use her first limit break, which hurts, and also that indicates a phase change for her. So here she's doing that. I need to throw an X potion or I'm going to die.
Yeah, so breaking the ability here is raw damage. So when you're trying to do some of the missions at a lower level, that's how you break the ability points. If you can't hit hard enough, you're just going to get one shot by things.
Yeah, that limit also takes away, it hits you down for almost everything, and it takes away your revive. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure to throw that Phoenix down, or at least your on your item menu, that Phoenix Down is selected. But with Phoenix Down being so close to Elixir, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, so now that we're in her second phase, she gains the ability to cast anti-material and anti-magic. She also uses her attacks in groups of 2 now instead of in groups of 1.
Yeah, for every, I think it's every third of HP that goes down, she adds one more attack to the pool.
Yeah, so she goes one, wait, and now we're on 2 attacks, then wait.
Ah, that's fine.
That's what the Phoenix Downs are for.
I have done this deathless before, and I did it exactly once, and felt very proud of myself. What are you doing? I need to get away from you so I can Phoenix down. Thank you. Thanks, Genesis.
Could you please go away? We already saw you once.
So ideally, we see our boy Angeal here, because like I said, Angeal pierces and ignores defense and hits lots and lots of times.
Yeah, so basically, like, instead of going up against the 255 defense and the, like, 50 or 70% like damage cut that she has on physical, we just can ignore that so we can actually do some reasonable amounts of damage.
Oh yeah, she can also use Ultima, which is really bad.
I take Sung at this point for a limit because we've got no Angeal and no Sephiroth.
I take literally anything. I'll use Angeal here because limits do cancel enemy attacks, so I want to cancel this Crimson Flare because it's annoying. But that's about all it'll do for me, because I could breathe on her and it would do more damage probably.
Yeah.
Oh, got greedy.
Wow.
It's fine, that was her second attack, so I have time to chuck a Phoenix down here as soon as this 5 million year long res animation goes away. This is why, like, you have the option in the main game to actually talk to a woman in the Shinra building and she'll give you a Phoenix down for free that you can use, like, anytime you want. And it's something that a lot of newer runners, myself included, liked doing. But honestly, at this point, I kind of don't recommend it for fights except for, like, the final boss. Because most of the fights in this game are so short that the revive animation will actually take you more time than you would just take resetting the fight.
Yeah, but I think like one of the things is it just gives you security when you're learning a run, so you're a lot less nervous about dying.
Okay.
The trade.
But then again, it also teaches you to not get greedy because you get punished with this.
Yeah.
So it's like a little give and take, one of those things.
She's about to do her limit, so I was considering not throwing that, but better safe than sorry. I have not like I'm at a dearth of Phoenix Downs or anything. Wow, she really doesn't want to do her next limit.
If you don't mind this going slower, you could always go with Aerial Drain too, which will just siphon back the HP, but it will do a lot less.
Oh, Absolute Ward, really? So Absolute Ward is kind of annoying. It makes her completely invincible, including the Costly Punch. So now we just get to sit here and wait for her to, for that to wear off.
Yeah.
You better run for it.
Look at me, I am Zack. I frolic
Engaging
majestically through the fields of this boss fight.
Engaging gameplay, only the best.
We'll pop the air up here.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. But yeah, Minerva kind of does what Minerva wants. Minerva really doesn't just have a script to follow.
Yeah, she just picks attack and goes for it, and she really doesn't want to do her last limit, which is fine, but...
And if you've never fought Minerva before, this is how I explain it to my friends. It's like someone who's played a fighting game for 5-6 years versus you the first time.
That's fine.
Don't expect to win right away.
Yeah, that's right. So with the ability point there, if we cut it down to 75, it's a lot more reasonable. But that's why we have such a massive HP pool, so that even if we don't cut it down to 75%, we still won't get one shot by it.
Yeah, and so now that we're in phase 3, she will start using her attacks in groups of 3. Ooh, hello.
Well,
Level 5,
Little
too.
late to the party there, Angel.
Well, better late than
I don't
never.
know. It's pretty
Better-
welcome. It's always welcome.
Better
No.
late than never.
That was a lot of numbers. I don't know how many.
A lot.
Many, many numbers doing many, many damages.
Just covered in crit and number. 9999999.
But that's the perfect example of why we said
Two?
Angel is the best limit.
No
Go away,
scam. No
Sephiroth.
scam. No scam.
Hey!
Yeah!
No whammies.
It's
Even
only a
though it's
level 1
level
this
1,
time.
it's still going to hit
Yeah,
like a truck.
that's still 27.
All right, so we're within like 10 hits.
Yeah, once again, when we're in Buster stance, we have massive damage reduction, so it makes guard pretty much useless. But you will get forced out of Buster stance if you don't use it soon enough. So you gotta be careful about it. You can't just sit in it all day.
All right, one more.
Stupid
And we did it.
boss.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Look at that. You got some ability points back after fighting.
Yeah! I'll need those, you know.
Yeah. Now that I'm done. All right, now.
All right, and that's Crisis Core. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, RPG Limit Break, for letting me open the marathon with this run. Had a ton of fun. It was awesome. Be sure to stick around for the rest of Marathon. Lots of awesome things, including myself. Little bit of a self-plug on Thursday at like midnight. We're running Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2. Don't want to miss it. Really fun run. SMT is like my big wheelhouse. Really passionate about those games.
Yep.
Shout outs to the Crisis Core community. They're all awesome, super helpful with learning this run. Very, very valuable source of information and good groups of people. Thanks to my co-commentators for helping me out with this. Definitely could not have done it by myself with how much folks we have to do. And thank you all again for having me. This is Freedom signing out for now.
Well, and thank you again, Freedom, for that fantastic Crisis Core run. We do appreciate it. Alrighty, folks, well, that is going to do it for me here at the hosting desk. Don't worry, I will be around all week long. You'll be seeing and hearing plenty from me, but we're going to toss it over to an ad, and when we come back, we are going to have the universally beloved High Spirits taking over at the hosting desk for me. So thanks so much for having me. Stick around, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Welcome back to RPG Limit Break, everyone. Thank you very much, Ivan, for hosting the last run. He is my bearded brother, as I like to say, or we like to say. My name is High Spirits, and I will be here with you for the Soul Blazer run. But first up, we have a interview with the previous runner, Freedom Pulse. So I'm going to send this over to Natara.
Hello, and welcome to an interview with our wonderful Crisis Core runner, Freedom Pulse.
Hello, hello.
And with me is my dear partner, the 256 gigabyte Steam Deck. You too can have it for $100 cumulative for the entire marathon. Isn't it pretty? It's still sealed and everything, so I cannot even show it to you, but it's here, it's beautiful. Speaking of someone who has one, you're gonna wanna try and win that. Before we talk about the rest of our prizes, let's get into the run. Freedom, that was amazing.
Thank you.
How long have you been running this game?
About, let's see, since February or March of this year.
Oh, great. Did you play the PSP version, or did you just start with this one?
Yeah, I played the PSP version when it first came out when I was much younger, and I enjoyed it, rented it from Blockbuster a couple times.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it a lot. And it was always something that was kind of like when I was getting into speedrunning that was on my like, oh, I enjoyed Crisis Core, maybe I'll run it at some point. It was just, it was a PSP game, and so that meant it's hard to play, and plus also like 4+ hours of unskippable cutscenes. It's a great game, but it was always one of those things that's like, when I'm thinking about, oh, what do I want to run next? It's always like, well, I could do Crisis Core, but cutscenes or whatever. And so then when the remaster came out and you could skip cutscenes, and turns out the run was really fun, I was like, oh, good, excellent.
Yeah, the bane of all RPG speedrunners is when it's got any of those cutscenes and they're unskippable. So is this your first game that you've speedrun, or have you? Did you start with other games?
No, so I've been speedrunning for a while. I mostly run like Shin Megami Tensei games. Got to showcase Nocturne at the last Limit Break with Shiner, and been running a lot of different games in that series since like 2020 was roughly when I started speedrunning.
Nice. And do you want to remind us, for those who are just tuning in, you have a Shin Megami Tensei run this later on in the marathon, correct?
Yeah, so I will be running Digital Devil Saga 2, which is one of my favorite games in the series. Technically Thursday, the run starts at like midnight, so it's right when Wednesday becomes Thursday. The stream will become Digital Devil Saga, and it'll be great.
Don't worry about it. It'll be totally fine. Segue, speaking of wonderful games, we have I'm going to bring it a little more into frame here. Another one of our grand prizes here is this modded 3DS. It is modded for capturing. So speaking of the problems of streaming from a PSP, similar problems happen with our 3DS. But this has been lovingly modded, so you probably may or may not see it, but there is a micro USB connector there. So you can connect that to software on your computer to more easily stream all of your wonderful games to OBS. So that is another $100 cumulative donation. However, this one is only available until the end of the 18th. So midnight, once the 18th finishes, that's done. So remember, you don't have to donate that $100 all at once. You can kind of get in there as you want. So now we're getting to the important questions.
Oh, good.
And this is a question that is really dear to my heart and is a very hot debate with some people in the Crisis Core community. Who is your favorite Shinra brother? Who is the best Shinra brother?
I mean, I have to go with Kunsel, because he's our bro. We gotta tell the homies we love him,
Kunsel? He's not a...
I admittedly, I have not played 7 Remake.
Fair enough. I haven't either. So the friend of mine, I personally... Z really likes Lazard. I think Rufus is the top Rufus. Is the top Shinra brother. And I guess some people like Evan, but he's novel only. Check out the books. Did you know there are books? There are books. So, in a similar line, which of Zach's haircuts is your favorite?
Ooh. I have to go with the post-time skip one, just with like the slick back and the spikes. It's just very cool.
It is.
Makes me jealous of,
Yeah, he's got pretty fabulous hair. And I just always loved the transition when I was playing it, just going from, oh, he looks so young to, oh, this is the Zach we saw in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So, how sad does it make you, or does it make you sad that you have to skip the ending of this game?
A little of both. I'm like glad I don't have to, endure that torment every single time I finish a run. So that's cool, but also, it is a, really touching scene, and so, not being able to show that off at all, it's a bit of a shame.
Absolutely. It is we won't spoil it for you if you haven't played Crisis Core, but highly recommend it. They did it justice, all we're going to say here, but very, very good. Now here's a question. Favorite Final Fantasy?
Probably 10.
10 is so good.
I enjoy 10. It's my favorite battle system in the series, especially.
It's definitely got really interesting things. Now, I'm going to ask chat here, or no, I'm not, because chat has disappeared. We are not going to ask chat questions. Sorry, y'all. Maybe another time. The Minerva fight. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I know personally I don't fight super bosses. They seem really stressful. How long did it take you? Like, is the fight, the way you did it, you were talking about how this is kind of your own personal strategy versus a speedrunning one. How long did it take you to come up with this strategy?
Not super long. Like the main strategy that most people recommend is mostly what I did with just like using Costly Punch, and you have to hit her like 101 times with Costly Punch, and, which is what I did casually because I just didn't realize the whole high jump pierces thing, because it's a newer change. And so when the game was newer, people weren't talking about that strat. They're like, oh yeah, Costly Punch, or farm to like 6 million gills so you can use Gill Toss on her, or do XYZ thing that takes like 12 hours of grinding. And I'm like, no, I think I'll go with Costly Punch, thank you.
I was going to say, how much time must it take to grind that much gill?
A very long time. There are some places, like there are some places where you can grind a lot of money from like stealing items and stuff, but it still takes a very, very long time.
Absolutely. Now, if anyone was interested in getting into the Crisis Core speedrunning, where are they going to find you in the community?
Yeah, so the community has a Discord server. You can find it on the speedrun.com page. You can find it, I think like the whole Final Fantasy speedrun community has like a group Discord that like links to all of the other ones.
Yeah,
we do have a community Discord that's full of a lot of people, myself included, who are more than happy to help anyone who comes in and is like, hey, I want to learn the run. So definitely recommend stopping by that, or, if anyone's streaming the game, there's a couple of us that stream it somewhat regularly on and off, and if you were to stop into our chat, we could, give you, probably link you to the Discord, but also give you some tips and such.
Absolutely. That's always really helpful when folks are helping you when you're new in your Final Fantasy journey, or any speedrunning journey. So let's talk about some music here for a second. We're going to talk about one of our lovely prizes. This is a Final Fantasy acoustic album, which is one of our prizes. We're going to tip it forward. Look at that. It is a $10 minimum donation, and it is available until this evening for the Costume Quest run. So that is approximately 8 p.m. Mountain Standard or Mountain Daylight Time. So that's a few hours left. If you want to get a $10 donation in, we'll enter you into this. What are some of the tracks we've got here? It's got some listed on the front. We have the opening theme, Rebel Army, Eternal Wind. There are so many. It looks like there's one from every Final Fantasy up to a point. So maybe all of them. Anyways, it has a lot of tracks on them, and you are definitely not going to want to miss out on that. Well, is there anything you want to say to everyone watching here at home before we clue this up?
Just thanks again to RPG Limit Break for having me, and thanks everyone for hanging out and watching, and be sure to stick around and donate to an amazing cause.
Because remember, all of these prizes, and with that, we're done with our interview. Make sure to stick around. We do have Soul Blazer coming up next, and you want to groove to that Leo's Lab music. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, Natara, for the interview there, and thank you, Freedom Pulse, for the awesome run and for the interview also. Hey, we got some donations here going on in between, so let's get to them. Let's clear some things up here because we got a Soul Blazer run coming up next, and with that, we have a incentive to name Blazer. And along with that, well, hey, we got a $100 donation from BD Jeffy P. That says good luck and or blame Everhate. That currently puts Everhate in the lead with $100 over Will, which is at 77.77. Your last opportunities to get in to influence that. We also got another donation from BD Jeffy P for $150. Thank you very much, Jeffy. I couldn't be there in person this year, but I can still support the cause. Good luck to the runners. Thank you very much for that generosity. We had a $25 donation from Profness, another friend. Put that towards some Blue Dragon later tonight. Got all kinds of good incentives for that. A $5 donation from Kay Shura. Hi, Kay. So happy that RPG Limit Break time again. Shout outs to all the wonderful staff, volunteers, and runners in Salt Lake City and abroad. Thank you for everything you do. You are missed, Kay Shura, and thank you very much